Hey everybody, today we are going to use gouache again in my sketchbook here. You can see that I already started with the sketch. I used a compass to create a perfect circle and then I created my sketch around that. And this piece today kind of concludes this series. You can see the page on the right side a little bit. I did the one with the different sort of candles on the right, and then in another video previously I did some more witchy doodles, and all are in a very similar style and color scheme. And today we are painting this little magical frog that is in this crystal bowl. I like to believe that the frog is not trapped in the bowl, but it is magical, so maybe it's just like a hologram or something. We don't know what could be going on here, but I was, like I often do in my sketchbook, trying to match the colors on the other side, so much so that they fit together nicely so that the whole spread looks nice together. And by the way, I know that these videos are a little bit fast, so this is why I always plug my courses and my membership in these sort of moments. And today I've got really exciting news because I am doing a flash sale, a summer sale. So I will pop the time that it ends on the screen here so you know how long you have time for. From the time that this video goes live to this date here, it's gonna be about 48 hours. You can get every single one of the courses on my website 50% off with the code SummerSale2024. This is the biggest sale that I've ever done with my courses and probably going to be the biggest sale that I will do for a long time. I usually don't really do sales that much, and especially 50% off is a gigantic one. I wanted to give you a little bit of an incentive to try out the courses and improve your art skills, especially for people who maybe don't have it in the budget to be able to afford expensive courses. I mean, I know I still get it if you still can't afford it. That's why I am doing a lot of free content as well. But if you've been waiting for the right moment to level up your art skills, this is your sign. The ultimate gouache guide. It makes a huge difference if you get it 50% off. Also, my more affordable courses, all of them are 50% off with the coupon. You can use it multiple times on all courses as long as it's before the deadline. So I'm really excited for this. I hope that you can make use of this. Please don't postpone this and then forget about it. I know that every single time I have something where doors close or something, people forget about it and then message me afterwards. This is a flash sale. This is gonna go quick. It's gonna happen quickly and it's gonna be over quickly. So please don't forget about it. I also wanna do this for the people who watch my videos early. So all of the ones of you who are already watching this when it goes live, you can get this sale. I will leave the link to my courses in the description box below, and you can check them all out, see which one is the best fit for you. And if it's within the 48 hours, you can, like I said, get multiple of them. Yeah, that's all about the flash sale. You can see with the painting here, I have already done a bunch of the purple stuff and I am currently using a turquoise color. And I really like that for the frog. Honestly, I was debating whether to use a more warmer green tone that would be more natural for a frog usually. I know frogs come in all kinds of colors. I don't know if they come in turquoise. Probably. There's probably really, really toxic frogs that come in this color. And I sometimes really like using more teal and turquoise tones for green tones instead of green tones because they fit really nicely with these sorts of color schemes, and I just wanted to keep to a more limited color palette. That's something that I've really enjoyed doing the last several months at least. I have been very conscious about the color combinations that I choose, and whenever I'm not that conscious, I usually don't enjoy the colors that I choose. So usually I have kind of a little bit of a plan of where to go, and it's always easy if I have already done the page on the other side so that I can then at least make the other page somewhat fit. Even if I don't use the exact same colors, I have a little bit of a plan going into it already. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy sketchbooks, honestly, because you can make things look cohesive and go together, and you can do series like this one here where I'm doing these kind of magical doodles, and this is the third one of these. And when you flip through the sketchbook, I will show you a short flip after this, then you can see them all together, and I think they look really nice together. And these were actually not the last, I think, but one of the last pages in this Etcher sketchbook. This is the Etcher quote-unquote perfect sketchbook. This is meant for watercolors, and it has thicker paper. It is very much a cold press paper. It has a lot of texture. I think that the texture is a little bit on the rougher side. You can even see it in the video. You can see the texture of the paper, and that's good in a way. It's also bad in another way. It really depends on what you like. These sketchbooks are very expensive. I recently did my video where I compared different watercolor sketchbooks, and this one was probably the most expensive sketchbook that I've ever used. And I don't think it's the best sketchbook that I've ever used based on my personal preference. I think they're really nice for watercolors if you have more of a loose style and you do a lot of wet on wet techniques. But for stuff like I'm doing today here, where I do these really fine and intricate details with gouache, I wouldn't say that this would be the ideal pick, honestly, but I think it worked fine. I was using, as always lately, my tiny nail art brush, which, by the way, I lost it. I lost it a few weeks ago. So when this was filmed a bit ago. I still had it for maybe a few more paintings after that, and then suddenly I don't know where it went, but this was my trusty paintbrush, my tiny little nail art brush. I mean, these aren't that durable, honestly, if you're using them for anything other than their intended purpose. I don't know if that's correct grammar, but yeah, they're not that expensive, but this one was coming to a really thin and nice point. The disadvantage is that I have to dip it into the paint a million times because it doesn't hold up as much paint. So I am still on the lookout for good brushes. I'm gonna order some more probably very soon. I've got a few suggestions, so we will see how that goes. You can see on our painting, I have a variety of colors that are similar in their hue, but then I create shades and tints, and I just create variations of them. So for this more purple pink tone, for example, I added more white to this lighter mixture here. I did the same with the turquoise, where I have lighter variations and then darker variations. And I also did a bit of blue, and later on I'm also gonna add a bit of the warmer tones, the orange tones, and bring those in. And then that's basically my color scheme. By creating these variations of the same color, I can create gradients, textures, contrast, just add more details without adding too many overbearing colors. So I have a variety of these similar blue tones that then go a bit into the purple, the pink, the turquoise, and now we're adding the warmer tones. So I'm starting off with this really light sort of yellow tone. This is kind of an in-between Naples yellow and more of an eggshell color. I really like using yellow with a bit of orange and then a lot of white. And I also used a darker purple tone for the frog details here to just give it a bit more contrast against that light background. And I always suggest to think in terms of contrast when it comes to the hue and also the value of your colors. So since the pink and the pink in the wings and the light yellow in the crystal ball have a very similar value, meaning they are the same brightness, lightness, I don't know how else to describe it. Since they don't have a lot of contrast in that sense, I did the dark purple outline to give it a bit more of that contrast. So it's not just a contrast in color, but we also have a variety of lighter and darker tones. And I do that throughout this piece. I'm later on also going to introduce a little bit of colored pencils, and that's going to add even more of that. Lately, I've really been enjoying adding a bit of outlines to my art, especially with colored pencils. Here, I think was one of the first times I really did that with gouache, where I really added color pencils on top of gouache. I mean, I've done that before, but here I was really trying to make that work as best as I could and also add details and shading with the colored pencils. And the downside is, I'm going to talk a bit more about that later, that I don't really know what fixative to use here because the one I use for gouache smudges the colored pencils. So I don't know if this combination of mixed media is the best idea, but I really like the way that it turned out. I really like the look of it, and I think that the colored pencil is gonna add a lot as well. You can see that I did spend a lot of time doing very tiny details and lines and adding just a lot to this piece. I think I went into a sort of Zen mode with these pieces and just lost track of time a little bit and just did those. And sometimes you just have to have a bit of a variety with this. I have my pieces that are really quick and very easy and simple, and then every now and then I really want to take my time with a sketchbook page, and these were the ones that kind of scratched that itch for me. I think going on from now, I will probably do some more simple things. I'm saying that now, but we will see. Yeah, let me also know what you like. I'm trying to do a variety of the more simple ideas that are suitable for beginners, but I know that my audience also kind of has been growing alongside me and my skills. A lot of you who have been here for a while and have been creating for a while also have improved your skills a lot. And I've seen that a lot on Instagram, and I can tell that you are probably at the skill level where you can do more advanced things, and these are kind of to give you an idea. I would love to see your variation of this crystal bowl with a frog, whether you decide to copy the design that I did here or do your own version of this. You can treat this as a sort of draw this in your style challenge if you want, and create your own version. That would be extremely fun to see. That's also something that I've been doing in my membership, where we have sort of looser themes, and then you can interpret them in the way that you want to, if that's what you like to do. And you can see here, I started with this colored pencil. This is from Staedtler. It's one of the more basic ones that they have. And then I also introduced some Prismacolors. And the Prismacolors were really nice because they work well on the gouache. The gouache is a chalky, rough texture, sometimes goes a bit more into glossy. So gouache is really hard to draw on. And it depends on the type of gouache that you use and also the type of paper you use it on. That's actually something that this paper was good for because it's such a rough paper. The colored pencil was still able to stick onto the gouache because the gouache wasn't just sitting on top of the paper and being super smooth. It kind of sank into the texture, if that makes sense. And so I was able to add a lot of details with the colored pencil. Now, the downside of that being obviously that you can't really get those pristine fine details. I mean, you could, but it's not as easy with this more gritty texture. So I don't know. I feel like up to this point, it worked really well because the Prismacolors and also even the other colored pencils here, I'm using the tiniest bit that's left of one of my polychromo colored pencils. And here is what the page spread looks like together once it was done. And then I used my wax medium that I've been using for gouache. And this is kind of where I ran into the issue that it smudges the colored pencil, especially the Prismacolors, unfortunately, because they're also waxy. And here are the other pages that I did in this series. I don't really like the underwater scene, unfortunately, but I'm really happy with all of the others. Now, again, make sure that you don't miss the summer flash sale. Use the code SUMMERSALE2024 on my website and you can get 50% off every single one of the courses that I have on there. I would love to have you on board and I wish you a nice rest of your day and I will hopefully see you again next time. Goodbye.